Welcome to AstroEnergy with astrologer angel Shelley Overton. Hello, and welcome to the May 16th, 2017 AstroEnergy show. My name is Shelley Overton, and I'm excited to be here with you today. I wasn't here last week. I had some business things I had to do and was not able to make it. Hopefully you listened to the replay because Mercury was still in Aries last week, and so that was pretty relevant to what was going on. But guess what? Today, Mercury is in Taurus. We have a shift. It has actually shifted. And so now we can get back to where we were before Mercury went retrograde and got out of Taurus. So we're back into the earthbound energy and much more groundedness that you get with Taurus. So I'm just looking up real quick. I'm getting my ephemeris that I always get. Oh, and you know what? Okay, so in the last week, and my mouse is acting up. Why are you acting up, you silly thing? I got a new computer finally, but that doesn't mean everything is great. I actually hit a point where, I was waiting for Mercury to go direct. I was waiting for Venus to go direct because she went first, and then Mercury went direct. So Venus rules material goods, and Mercury rules electronic goods. So I was waiting for both of those to be in direct motion. And let me tell you, it was one heck of a Mercury retrograde that I am feeling a little bit of the fallout. And today, Mercury gets back to, I believe it's out of its shadow today. Let's just double check that real quick here while we're sitting here with our ephemeris. So Mercury retrograded at 4 degrees of Taurus. And so actually a couple days off of the final, it clears its shadow on Sunday, which is the 21st. So we have till the 21st. So I've still got a few days, unfortunately, because right now, actually positively, Mercury is in early degrees of Taurus, which is in our sign, and I have Mercury at 4 Virgo. So it's moving into a trine with my Mercury. But as I've said in the past, trines can also create a little strife before they give you positive energy. So hopefully that won't happen and all will be well. Although I do have to tell you, as soon as I got my computer, I had it set on a hassock that goes with my rocking chair, and the hassock actually moves. It was from when both my kids were infants. And the hassock rocks along with the rocker, which is really kind of cool. But I had put the brand new computer on the hassock until I got everything squared away and had a place for it. And my daughter was sitting on the floor rocking the hassock absentmindedly, and she was doing it in front of me. I didn't even notice. And then, boom, the whole thing fell on the floor like 1.5 feet down onto the floor with a thud. I'm like, no, Mercury, please. So it so far seems to be going well, and I think that's one thing I like about Mac is that you can abuse it to a certain amount, and it still stays pretty well solid, and it's such a stable platform. And for somebody with Mercury and Uranus both in Virgo, I need my material world to be stable, my electronic world to be stable. I need it to be much more grounded, and thankfully it does. It is. I have Apple 5C iPhone, and I have dropped this. It doesn't even have a case. It's the watermelon one, and it goes and goes and goes, and I don't even know how it does it. But interestingly, because I have this new computer and electronic device, I have not been able to migrate some of my files because I don't want to put all of my files on this computer. I just want to put some of them. And Apple has developed a way of not letting you migrate. I can't even see it I put it all on a file system, backed it up on another hard drive, and I can't even see the files. It won't let me even look at them. So I'm going to probably have to hook up my old computer. So these are my Mercury retrograde problems, and it has been a difficult one. Like I said, my computer had been completely messing up for pretty much the duration of the retrograde, and even after it went direct, I've been having issues. So I finally just could not take it anymore. I didn't have any mail. My mail would freeze up online. I mean, I could use it through my iPad or my iPhone, but on my desktop I couldn't use it. And then my every browser I had would crash. So I couldn't even use those. I had like minimal time, and I'd be racing to do things, and then it would crash. And so it was like 2 weeks of that. And finally I just got it. I broke down, and I did it before the retrograde shadow disappeared and before it went into Taurus. So I don't know what that's going to mean for the future, other than, whenever Mercury gets to late degrees Aries, I can expect issues with my computer coming up. I won't. I'll try not to. I may not even remember this, but yeah, that's my little diatribe over Mercury retrograde. So it is now in Taurus, and my mouse is still squirrely, and I have none of my files from the AstroEnergy show migrated over to this new computer. So everybody who calls in, you're going to have to tell me your birth date, place, and time. I'm just letting you know in advance, because I don't have access to everyone who has called before. So we're going to have to start as if we never had that information, but I will hopefully get it by next week, because I plan on using one of the days this week to completely migrate all the relevant files over. So let's go around the zodiac first, and then we'll get to the topic, which today is dealing with fear. Okay, so I'm looking at the chart for Orlando right now, and I use Porphyry, and I think it's set up to, like I said, I just loaded a couple different programs that I knew I needed right away, and so I have my app for astrology, which I use if anyone's interested. Time Cycles Research is good for Macintosh, so I've been with them pretty much since the late 80s, using them as an astrology program, and they are a really good company. I really like them, and they are pretty good with customer service. They'll work with you, and it's a small company. So anyway, we've got Mercury now at early degrees of Aries, like literally at 12:07 this morning Eastern, 9:07 Pacific p.m. yesterday. Mercury moved into Taurus. So honestly, I had an invoice I had to send, and I literally waited till like 10 after midnight to send that invoice. It's an energy that, like, when it's at the last degrees of a sign, nothing can happen. There aren't any connections to other planets, so it helps if you wait till initiating energy, and especially when it's in Taurus. Now it's about retail. It's about, money from retail. It's about retail goods, things of beauty, material goods. So if you're in business and you do retail and you ship, this is the energy where that's going to be highlighted. It's the stock market, it's your bank accounts, it's any kind of material goods or monetary goods or finances. And so, yeah, it's also love, because Venus rules Taurus as one of the two signs. She also rules Libra. But Taurus is the earth energy of Venus, so that means tangible items connected to Venus, or goods of the earth, which is also the energies of gardening and, having a vegetable garden or something. Now is a great time to think about that. Actually, for me, planting, the moon is in waning mode, which means it's going down towards a new moon. And so as it gets to a new moon, then it will be a good time to plant. And so I actually did plant my little veggie garden seed starters on the new moon, the last new moon. And interestingly, I can't remember if it was in Cancer. It might have been in Cancer. It was right after the new moon, and I think it was a new moon in Taurus. So not long after is when I planted them, and it may as well have been in a water sign, because they sit there underneath the eaves, and the water comes off at night, or if it rains, and it falls right into that. So I literally don't have to water very much. The water just comes off my roof because I have no gutters, and it waters the seeds. But the rain came, and I wasn't home, and it gushed out some of my seeds. So I have lost some of them to the water. But that aside, it is a good time to plant a new garden. And then today we have moon in Capricorn, but of course it's at last degree. So you don't want to plant the last degrees of Capricorn, because it could die, especially if you're in the northern climes. The plants could fall victim to the cold, even though It's spring. You know, I heard that it's going to be fairly chilly and there might be some snow. I was listening to KBCO, which is the Denver Boulder radio station I listen to all the time in Denver, and they're talking about a little bit of snow in the higher country. So obviously if you're in the northern climes where you could get some chilly weather, it could fall victim to that, because Capricorn, while it is an earth sign, it is about the earth. It will bring cooler weather, colder temperatures. And also, that being said, Moon moving into Aquarius could also bring some wind and less water and atmospheric moisture, but more likely electrical. So it's going to be static in the air, electrical, lightning, thunder, and wind, because it's an air sign. So the next couple of days it's going to be a little bit windier, and tornadoes or storms, things like that. Although, you know, if there are storms, there may be rain associated. Neptune is still in Pisces. And let's see where Neptune is going to be real quick. I know Neptune, I think it's getting ready to go retrograde this summer. Let's see when it goes. It goes in June. So, yeah, we're a couple weeks out. And interestingly, it goes retrograde at 14 degrees and 16 minutes. And today it actually gets to 14 degrees. So for the next couple weeks, it's really starting to slow down. It's a very slow-moving planet anyway. But for the next couple weeks, we're going to start to see probably more oceanic news stories and water news stories, things of probably more flooding. I haven't paid attention to the news. I thought there was some in Montreal, but I really haven't paid close attention since I heard the story of flooding in Montreal. So I really don't know where it is right now. But let's see what else we have. I'm just going to go through a couple of the aspects, and I'll get back to the individual planets. But the new moon happens Thursday in Gemini at 4 degrees, and that happens at 3:44 p.m. Pacific and 12:44 p.m. Wait a minute. Nope, 3:44 p.m. Eastern and 12:44 Pacific. Then we have the moon. Let's see, where's the moon? I just wanted to check. So the moon enters Taurus at 8:33 a.m. It just went into Taurus this morning. Or that can't be right. What the heck? Am I in the right year? What is going on? How come my moon shows Capricorn, but my ephemeris shows the right ephemeris? And, because I'm a week ahead. That's why. Duh. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Mercury's still affecting me. Okay, this is better. So moon enters Aquarius today, at 1:50 p.m. Eastern and 10:50 a.m. Pacific. That's what you get probably for using a book. You can be on the wrong page in the wrong year. Again, we have Jupiter in conjunction Neptune tomorrow at 4:37 a.m. Eastern and 1:37 a.m. Pacific. And though it's in the morning, you will feel it probably tonight. The sun is in conjunct to Saturn tonight, and inconjuncts are kind of my difficult aspects. I would say out of any aspect, to me, inconjuncts are the least favorite of mine. There's really, maybe there's a redeeming quality about it, but I don't know what it is. Squares, to me, ultimately get you through something difficult that you're able to finally let go of. But inconjuncts, they just kind of stir up trouble. They're just an uncomfortable discomfort energy where you have to have some friction and you're just not seeing eye to eye with someone, or the energies around you are just not going to be productive or promoting cooperation. So tonight it's going to be Sun in conjunct Saturn. Actually in the morning, it's tonight Pacific, 10:29 p.m. and 1:29 a.m. in the Eastern time zone. And the Sun is ego in money. And so I'm guessing that's probably going to affect the Chinese stock market. I'm just going to tell you, because they're about opposite what we are. So you're going to see probably something going on with stocks in Asia, because Taurus and then squaring Saturn thing going on with real estate. Definitely I would say real estate's going to be affected in the middle of the night, and stock markets on the other side of the world. And then Jupiter, Libra, in conjunct Neptune and Pisces tomorrow morning. And again, you'll feel it tonight. That's also probably flight, because Jupiter is retrograde still and Neptune's slowing down. This could be something, I think this is interesting. Maybe this is something where we might find some of the Malaysia plane parts, or there might be more information coming out about that because Jupiter it rules airlines, and Neptune is the water, and the inconjunct, there could be also, because it's inconjunct, it could be at odds, and there may be something coming out, and it doesn't have to be about that particular event, but it could be something related to oil drilling, or wouldn't be surprised if it has to do with Keystone Pipeline here in America. You know, it's that kind of energy. It's friction going on between trying to balance something with two different foreign entities, and then oil. And so that also could mean there's something going on with oil. And honestly, they said, I just heard this is an aside, yesterday, that oil is at the highest price it's been for a while now, and it's going to maintain that because they're trying to hold the prices high right now, and so they're not producing as much oil, so the prices are staying up. And so I got gas yesterday, and I'm just topping it off. That's it. So if the price goes up, I've already got it at the lower price, and you might want to do it. I don't know if they've gone up yet today, but Saturn trines Uranus tomorrow, and they're both in fire sign. So that will actually be good for what's going on with this debacle that happened over the weekend with the computers, the whole computer hacking thing with England and all over the older Microsoft XP platform. I don't know if you heard that there were a lot of computers that got this virus because people were, they had a ransomware, which they basically is a kind of virus that comes in your email, and you have to click something and then it will initiate it. So it tricks you into clicking it if you're, not aware that it is a virus. I mean, I have a pretty just laser awareness of what is not a safe email. And I also have a Mac, so I don't get these. Pretty much I can count on one hand the times I've been affected by something that got into my computer, and it usually was Mac Clean Sweeper or something like that. It's just one program that always creates havoc. There you go. Anyway, so Saturn trining Uranus, again, Saturn and Sag, it is retrograde. It has to do with career. It has to do with foreign entities. And then Uranus in Aries is unique qualities around who we are as individuals and inventiveness, retail inventiveness. And so it's inventiveness for foreign markets. And actually, that's a really good aspect for a project I'm working on as well. So I might have to get myself together. Actually, in Neptune the night before, I guess I'll have to really watch that because Neptune rules photography, and part of what I have to do for that project is to photograph some products. So hopefully I can get that done today before it gets too intense. So what else do we have here? I have a note on my planner that basically says on the 21st, Sunday, I want to have a party because Monday of next week I've practiced Buddhism for 30 years. I started practicing in 1987. So that's a pretty big event, pretty big hallmark for me. So Buddhism, there were a lot of planets in Sagittarius in my chart when I became Buddhist, and that, of course, rules philosophy and religion. So that's pretty interesting. And, of course, Saturn is at M degrees of Sagittarius right now. Getting back to the chart, I also want to tell you, if you're calling in for a reading, please do hit the 1 on your keypad so I know that you are in line for a reading, and that way I can call on you. And be sure and have your birthday and place, and if you have the time, you can get a more accurate chart, but I can't do a sunrise chart if you don't have it, so that's okay. Anyway, and I don't know how I sound because I got a glitch with this browser. It doesn't want to let me, it is letting me through, but it doesn't have the typical call-in number where I can use my headset, and my Skype is not recognizing Skype even though I have it, probably because of Flash Player, which Apple doesn't necessarily recognize. So glitches, got to download Chrome. Anyway, so I'm calling in on my phone, and I can't guarantee the sound quality, so I apologize if it isn't really great. And I've tried to open a chat room, but it doesn't want to open because it's a Flash Player thing. So I apologize for not having a chat room today. Okay, let's see if I can find anything else. Oh, and the sun goes into Gemini on Saturday, which is going to be cool because Gemini, while Gemini can be difficult sometimes with communication, it is a happier, brighter energy. My daughter, just as an example, has she has Jupiter in Gemini, and she's a typically happy person. And I just saw somebody else, can't remember who it was, Gemini planets. I think it was Miley Cyrus. And honestly, don't talk to me about Miley. I had my falling out with her, but she seems to be redeeming herself lately. I'm not totally convinced yet, but we'll see. Anyway, I was watching something on her and looked her up, and she has some Gemini in her. And you can tell with the interviews that she's really got that happy Gemini energy, and that's really what it does, is it creates just a sense of joy. And Mars is at 17 Gemini right now. So the Sun will be joining Mars, and that means that it will be much more charismatic, much more flirty, talkative, sexual, probably multiple sexual partners if you initiate something under this energy coming up for the whole month of June. Well, I should say for the last week of May and the first 3 weeks of June, because that's the period with Sun in Gemini. And then know that, and also Trump is a Gemini, so this is going to mean also probably even more chaotic energy coming out of him. That Gemini energy is very electrical. It affects our brains. We feel energy coming really quickly. It can cause stuttering. We have that quickness of thought, and like you can't turn your mind off. So we're all going to feel even more so. Right now, Mars in Gemini has got us probably going crazy doing multiple projects, but Sun in Gemini is going to mean that, you know what, hey, this is what I do, this is what I want to do, and you can't stop me because this is me, this is who I am. It's the ego energy coming in. So, it also can be defensive. I can tell you, being a Virgo and also knowing Geminis, the energy of thought that is so strong with Gemini, or the Mercury energy, makes us more defensive, because it's like we go someplace mentally, and then we go somewhere else, and then we come back to that, and it's like we visited our thought more than once. We're very hyper mental thinkers, and which what other kind is there, let's be honest, but we're very hyper mentally. So it makes us hyper aware of different behaviors, and because there's a lack of the water energy, or that actually can be a little bit more helpful, or even fire, it can ground that Gemini a little bit more. Unless that's there, it can be like a whirling dervish, off going one thing to another. And with Trump having his Sun in Gemini, and then also Mars in Gemini, and then the Sun coming into Gemini, it's going to be probably a really chaotic, and I will be honest, duplicitous time. It means we're going to see people saying one thing but doing another, or saying it and then saying something else. So it's going to be heightened over the next month, and quite honestly, it's kind of like a roller coaster ride for people who aren't used to it. And I think we're all going to get a taste of it here in the country, because we have a Gemini leader now. So that's the way it is. Hang on one second. Okay, so let me just I haven't touched real quick. I haven't really gotten to all the planets, but Jupiter is at 14 Libra retrograde and trine to Mars. Mars just went past the trine, and I apologize, I wasn't here last week to really tell you, yes, now we have Mars trine Jupiter, but it is the energy of travel, very strong travel energy, and even travel with your ideas. So you may have more ideas based on doing business in foreign places. Mars is the energy that rules Aries, which is retail, emergency situations. Jupiter retrograde can mean that something has to be revisited before we can get through with it. And with the Mars energy in trine to that, then we're going to have a trigger point where something is triggered for a move. So people who are Gemini, people who are Libra, and probably Aquarius on some level, because those are in trine, are going to start to feel some of this energy about mentally moving, because, of course, Gemini is also school. So it could be something going on with school, something going on with testing. This is the time of year for testing. Jupiter rules higher education, so college students. And then there's probably going to be some energy around miscommunication with a partner of some sort coming up right now. We have Uranus, Mercury still in conjunct orb, but Mercury has moved past Uranus and so is getting affected less and less by the magnification of the energy. But that being said, of course, Sun going into Gemini is going to also bring it back into focus a bit. So what is good, though, is Sun in Gemini, the ruler of Gemini is Mercury, and Mercury just went into an earth sign. So it will calm it down a bit. It will mean that while normally Mercury is a very frenetic energy or up and down and all over the place, in Taurus it's going to be more grounded and more plotting and logical and needing tangibles to prove it. So even though we have Sun and Mars and Gemini coming together, Mercury is going to tamp that energy down just a little bit. So, and it will probably put our focus on the stock market, which can be an electronic medium for finances, and also bank accounts and what's going on with our bank situation. So watch out for that, or look out for that, or maybe you're going to change banks, who knows. But there will definitely be a financial component of what's going on. And then Moon goes into Aquarius this week. Again, very clear thinking. I think we're moving into probably a month of really strong mental clarity about things, and also a lot of activity, a lot. Imagination, invention, inventiveness, and, electronics, all that. And that'll get more heightened as these energies need a means to express. And so we'll look to electronic media to express. And I think it's going to be, I'm getting into YouTube. I'm going to finally, with my new computer, get some of my YouTube videos up that I've been sitting on. And I've got a lot of art videos that I'm going to show. And then a lot of my old podcasts I put out on YouTube, and I have to get to those too. So now that I have the means to do it, you should see a flood of those on YouTube. And if you are interested, my YouTube channel, I believe you can go to Astrologer Angel, but it might actually be, it might be Artful Shelley. Actually, look up Artful Shelley first, and then look up Astrologer Angel. You'll probably find it because my videos are associated with Astrologer Angel. But I've got a couple different accounts, and again, still sorting things out, but we'll get there. Okay, I'm going to talk really quickly about fear, and I think I made this show about fear because I went to a convention last week, and I talked to this gentleman who was in the booth with me, and he was actually a former sheriff, and he's in security and fraud with the company. And he was talking to me about, how do I explain? I guess I should back up and say that my belief system is that definitely what you focus on expands. And I know that given certain politics or belief systems, people will very clearly point to what their belief is and say, there's evidence of this. Well, my belief system is there's evidence because you've focused on it, so you've created the situation where you've attracted what will reinforce that. So, of course, there's evidence that your belief system works, because if you didn't have evidence, you wouldn't have a belief system. So when we focus on things that are fearful, we actually align ourselves with the vibration of fear. And this really affected me talking to this gentleman. He was telling me about, his work in law enforcement and work with some people he knows in Homeland Security. And I'm not going to talk too much about specifics, but he was basically telling me all these details of how he even knew a guy who had a neighbor who was of certain religion, and went over and said, hey, is it true that if you get to a certain point, you could just turn, and if you were told by your senior in faith to do this, you would go out and kill? And the man said, well, and he had a family. He was like just another guy next door who had a family. And he goes, well, yes, if they told me to, I would. And so the first man told the neighbor, well, then I'm no longer your friend and don't come around me because I have guns. And I'm just like, that I understand that people are fearful now. And I understand from an astrological standpoint why, but I do want to address that if we give our energy over to these storylines, we only become part of the storyline. We increase the energy going into promoting those fears. And it's just so important in my world and to use this forum to let you know that that is not a higher vibration. It is a lower vibration. It is a vibration of ego. If we are out there looking to protect ourselves from some unknown event that could occur, that is a vibration of fear, false evidence appearing real. And so I just wanted to encourage you to be aware of where you put your ideas and where you focus your energy. And as a connection to astrology, I'm going to go through each of the signs and tell you where the fear is and what the inclination is to being able to process that fear. So Aries, honestly, Aries enjoys, and I've seen this in my daughter, they actually enjoy the heightened sensations around the blood rush and the adrenaline rush of fear. And that's why they are emergency workers. That's why they find themselves in the police force and the fire department and the places where that adrenaline is heightened. So if anything, probably having an Aries on your side would be a good thing if you are afraid of something. And definitely Librans, because of the opposite energy. And this is really what it comes down to astrologically, is you balance yourself and the fears through the energy of the opposite sign. So Libra is about balance and connection to people. Aries is somewhat disconnected from the one-on-one. They are very much driven to go do physically what comes into their mind as an impulse. And so they follow those impulses physically. And so the fears, probably one of the signs with the fewest fears, I would say, is Aries, because they run towards things that are fearful to the rest of us. So probably Librans can get a dose of awareness of how to cope with things that are fearful, which would be emergencies or things that are out of balance, by having someone that they know who is an Aries, or connecting to classes on CPR or things like that, taking self-defense classes, anything that for a Libra would be fearful of not being balanced, or people not having like prejudice or things like that. Find out through the means that are out there in an opposite sense, Aries, ways of coping by exposing yourself to that. Taurus is afraid of no security or afraid of not having money. So what they do is they tend to get as much money as they can because they don't ever want to be without it. They don't feel safe or secure without it. And, a lot of us feel that too. The opposite energy is Scorpio. And Scorpio, so both signs are about value. And so Taurus probably translates feeling unvalued into not having money. And that's really probably the core of the money issue, is that they may feel like they aren't worth anything, in which case there would be no money. And that's fearful to them. So they do get more money, aim for money, keep money in secret spots. So that's probably how they cope with it. If it becomes too intense, then ultimately they're going to have to look at why they feel that fear of insecurity. The opposite sign, Scorpio, also, it's about other people's money. So Scorpio may feel like if they've been helped out throughout their lives with other people or been in a partnership, that they're afraid those partnerships are going to collapse. And that also feeds into the whole idea of partnering and commitment, which Scorpio has. So they may have a fear of no commitment or a fear of not having justice served, which is also kind of a secondary story to the balance issue, which Scorpio has Libra in the 12th house naturally. So that puts balance and having justice as a passion and a drive. So the connection to money for Scorpio is about connectedness to others. Is there a connection of value? Do others value you? And so there's always there's really no separation for the money issue with Scorpio. Are you valued by others? If you're valued by others, if you feel valued by others, you will attract money in. And if you don't have money or others don't give you money or somehow you're not getting it, it's because you don't feel the value and you're looking externally. And really every sign, fear comes from externals. It's always an external expressing itself and showing us our own internal fears. So we project. That's what we do. Humans project. We don't have necessarily a way to see ourselves. There's always a hidden side. And also another way you could look, and this is an aside, another way to find your fears is to look in your 12th house. That's where the subconscious lies and where things kind of get until we're ready to deal with it. And it's also where we escape what is real. Reality tends to be, in astrology, you come into reality, quote unquote, and I say quote unquote reality because reality is, in my opinion, a construct of consciousness. So we come into this reality in the first house, astrologically. The 12th house is where we're getting ready to be born, where we're compiling our future, where we're deciding how things will play out, where we create the life we want to live once we've expressed into the real, quote, real world. So the first house is the ego. The ego wants to defend from fearful things. So look to the first house, look to the 12th house, look to where your sun is, that's your ego. Look to where Neptune is, that can be your fear as well, and where you would look to escape. Okay, so Gemini, it's got a fear of not being heard and their words and thoughts not being valued. So the way they do that is they become more chatty. I have a friend. I have a number of friends who call me, and I've just gotten to this point where I just let them talk because they want to talk. And so when a Gemini calls you, chances are they will carry most of the conversation. Obviously, I have a strong Mercury in my chart because I couldn't do the show and carry it. I've gone on 40 minutes just talking. But Gemini needs to be heard. So if they aren't being heard, a good way to get to the bottom of it is start journaling. Write it down because then it gets it out of your head and you give it over to another energy, another form, and then you can let it go. Also, the opposite of Gemini is Sagittarius, and both energies need to travel and be free on some level. So Gemini could also go for weekend trips. That's a way to clear the head and get a lot of the old energy out of the head, which is one of their problems. Sagittarius needs to be physical. It's a fire sign, and it's a physical sign, so it needs to go into nature. Sagittarius' fear probably is lack of freedom. They're going to be wanting to absolutely be free, and that's why they keep moving from place to place to place. If you know Sagittarius, anyone with strong Sagittarius energy will go place to place to place, wanderer, and that's because they are afraid that their freedom will be taken away, so they keep on the move. So, really balancing it out by expressing it because of the opposite side. So opposite of Sag is Gemini. So talk about it. Talk about what it is that you associate with freedom and get that out. And that's a good way to do it. And also go for nature walks, go for hikes, do something physical. Good way to ground the energy and let it go, release it. Cancer, Capricorn. Again, Cancer needs security, physical home security. And another thing I've noticed with them, they are a monetary sign. To them, because Capricorn is the opposite sign that balances them, they look for structure and they look for someone who is stable and brings in financial security so they can stay at home and do what they need to at home. So if you have a strong Cancer in your chart, you're going to look for that home security. And Capricorn will balance you out, but also doing things that direct your thoughts towards something that is productive and will build the nest. So do the traditional Cancer things, bake, garden, clean the house, everything you associate with 1950s moms, do that. And then also, redo your finances if you have to. And then Capricorn, it is afraid probably of just about everything that is which is outside of its control. So Capricorn needs to have the structure, needs to know things are organized, and it gets fearful when things are chaotic. And that's a bit ironic because chaos for Capricorn is actually the second house, not the 12th house. The 12th house for Capricorn is Sagittarius. So having that freedom, it kind of doesn't understand that there is a need for freedom. Capricorn's probably, I would say, one of the bigger blind spots is their own need for freedom that they don't acknowledge because it's a 12th house energy. And then having the chaos on either side, there's a lack of control. There's need for freedom on one side and chaos on the other, which is Aquarius. So Capricorn needs to have control, and anything that they don't understand is out of their control. They get fearful about it. So grounding for them would be going in the home environment, knowing that they're nurtured by a partner or a mother, having family around, also organizing, labeling, doing things like that gives them a sense of structure. So anything that would give them structure is going to be good for Capricorn. Then Leo and Aquarius. Leo is afraid of not being seen and not being relevant, not being related to. They want to be related to. And Aquarius is the opposite sign. So Aquarius is detachment. So the two give to each other through relating and detachment. So Leo can be so absorbed, it can be almost overbearing or controlling just because they want to know that they're needed and desired and have value. And really, they just need to be needed. And they relate. That they're a sign of love and romance, and they really just want adoration and needy. They want to be needed. So part of what they can do is learn how to detach from other people, but also to create. That's where they can find their voice and their attention. So they are the creators. They're the dramatists of the zodiac. Aquarius can also find their balance through creative aspects, but they need to invent. And again, a huge part of Aquarius is wanting freedom of thought. So they need to be free to explore and find new, interesting ideas. And so their fear is that it's probably not logical or not intelligent. So Aquarius wants things to be reasonable, logical, and understood. So the way they can get understood or feel like things are not so dumbed down is to put themselves networking, because they also rule networks and groups of people, is to put themselves around other people, which is kind of a Leo thing. So if you think about it, Leo needs to connect, and Aquarians connect on a different level, on an intellectual or group level, their soul group. And then let's see, finally Virgo and Pisces. So Virgo's fear is being criticized, and that's ironic because they are critical. But they're probably critical, again, because of the Mercury connection, where they're thinkers, and they pick things apart to the minute detail, which is what Mercury gives them the power to do. That's their superpower, is they understand the minutia. And so because they're so aware of the minutia, they feel they are being criticized from outside. So really part of what they need to do, and which is really interesting for Pisces, is they need to be accepting of themselves. And that's what Pisces does. Pisces is completely accepting, and part of Pisces' fears is the unknown, is not the unknown. Pisces is really good with the unknown, but Pisces is afraid of not being part of society or part of other. And Virgo is very much in the tangible world. Pisces is in the ethereal world. So Pisces isn't taken seriously on some level, and I think that also affects a Pisces person, that they're seen as flaky. So part of what they do to ground and balance is to find friends that are Virgos and very aware. So they each can balance each other's fears by helping to ground Pisces and give an awareness of spirit to Virgo and know that it's not all just about the intelligence and about the criticism. Okay, so hopefully that helped you a little bit more with fear, and if you have any of those signs, you can use some of that. And also Pisces photography is really good because it's a physical, tangible world thing, and poetry is a good thing for Pisces because they can express through those means, and so expressing artistically is really good. And Virgo, communicating, and also Gemini, communicate through electronic media or in written word or books and stories, things like that are good for both of those as well. Okay, I'm not taking a break today because the show's running long because I was very wordy and I missed a week and there was a lot to say. So I'm just going to go to our callers and see who we have, and then we'll go from there. So let's see. We have 901 first. Hi, 901. How are you?
Hi, this is Lanice. How are you?
Hi, Lanice. It's good to talk to you. I'm
you
good.
Too.
Yeah.
I'm July.
Well, yeah. Just a second. Let me get it. Okay. Go ahead. July
5th, 1963.
1963. And what hang on, my computer. I put in one too many numbers there. Okay. What time?
9:56 a.m.
Okay. And where were you born again?
Memphis.
Okay. What can I do for you?
The subject of fear came up. I've been dealing with a lot of that. So just whatever you see coming up now for me.
Okay.
Just kind of at
All
a crossroads. I don't know what.
Oh, okay. Let me just get my ephemeris up here real quick, and we'll be ready to go. Okay. So you've been dealing probably your issues and anxiety. Anxiety is one thing I didn't really talk about too much, but anxiety definitely can be fear. And Uranus is really big with anxiety, and so is Mercury. And in Aries, it's kind of like on steroids because you want to take action on things that you may not be completely aware. So
yeah, that's the big word, anxiety.
Is that what it feels? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mercury, Uranus for you has been in your 8th house of money from others and joint finances. So have you had any kind of partnership situation that may not have gone the way you thought it was going to go?
No, not lately.
No? Okay, well, that's good. But legal issues and taxes also are covered under that area. So, well, tell me where your fear lies so I can kind of focus on that.
Well, in the grief process with my mom, that's part of it. And I had blood pressure, went to the doctor, and when they come near me with the cuff, my blood pressure shoots up. And that's been really scary. It's been going on about 3 weeks or something like that. And it's like I don't really know what my real blood pressure is because just to check it, it just takes so much, and it's kind of catapulted into my life, and I'm just kind of like scared, and it's in a really scary place.
Okay, so 3 things. What you focus on expands, so you're afraid your blood pressure is going up. All of the Aries energy, Uranus and everything, and when when Mercury was in Aries recently, as of yesterday, all that was in your 8th house, and the 8th house is the house of grief and losing people. So that's part of it. Aries rules the blood. So everything you're telling me is that 8th house. And right now, Venus is your mom. It's in the 8th house, and it's also in Aries. So you're kind of having an expansion of this energy for the month of, into June, May into June. Okay? I think, I'm not a doctor, absolutely not a doctor, so definitely keep on it. But part of it would be connecting to others. And do you have a sister or sibling?
Yes, I have siblings, 2 sisters and a brother.
Okay. Have you talked to them about some of these feelings?
Yes, I have. I talked to my sister about it this morning, and she
Okay.
says just relax. Okay.
Yeah, so you're going to do that, right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
what can be good for you is acupuncture just came into my head, but massage also. And something that, and also yoga, because yoga moves the fluids through the body as you do it. And that can also help you. It not only does it ground, it helps you do something physical, which you need to do. You have Jupiter in Aries, so you need to do something physical when you are stressed and when you're feeling pressured. And then Venus coming up on your Jupiter, there's also the energy of going somewhere. You really, what I'm seeing is that you have this feeling of constant emergency. That's what's going on for you. It's like there's constant feeling like something's going to happen. Was there an emergency with your mother? Was it that, or was it just a slow process?
Well, it was a slow process, but in the end, she was like hyperventilating, and that's the way she took her last breath.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, definitely with the energy going through your 8th house, you have to be aware of.
Hello? 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 I'm still here. Hello? I don't know what's going on. I can't hear you.
Lenise, are you there?
Oh, here I am. I'm here.
Hello?
I'm here.
I'm sorry.
Here.
My phone kicked me off. Mercury didn't like me again.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I apologize to listeners, but do you have the ability to do yoga?
Yeah, I can do it, but I haven't done it, but I can do that. What were you saying about the emergency situation with the energy going through the 8th house?
Yeah, well, the 8th house is about pressure. I mean, like, there is a pressure about it because it's Scorpio, and there's an intensity because of Scorpio. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto naturally, and of course Pluto is in Capricorn right now, which makes it about the body. And having Venus, having Uranus, having Mercury all transit that house for you is very intense. It brings you to a heightened state of alertness, especially Uranus and Aries, because not only are you already alert emotionally, now Uranus has you thinking about things, think, and trying to decipher value of everything. Okay, so Mercury transiting over Uranus for you can affect your blood pressure. It can affect breathing. It can affect anxiety, all the things that you kind of sound like you're experiencing.
And also heart palpitations. I've just been going through.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, so the signs for blood and blood pressure are, well, it's definitely affected by Uranus, but also Aries because it rules the blood, and then Leo rules the heart. So there aren't any planets in Leo right now, but it's in trine to Venus, and Venus just went in trine to that Leo energy in your chart. You also have Vesta going through Leo right now. Everybody has Vesta in Leo right now. So there's some stronger energy about heightened drama. And so what I would say and again, I'm not a doctor, but I would definitely encourage you to find things that go to the opposite of drama, which would be grounding, more tangible, physical, walking. If your doctor approves you doing walking, bike riding, or some type of physical activity with the legs, that because you have Jupiter also in Aries in your house, in your 8th house. So Jupiter needs to be physical with the legs. Horseback riding, horseback riding, running, rollerblading, any of those. Yoga is still good. Meditation could be good, but I don't know if you're going to be able to hold still for meditation. So I would say probably do something physical that's also grounding and relaxing, if you can do that, but with a doctor's care. But I think that it's going to be okay. I think once Venus gets past your Jupiter, it's going to help. She'll get to Uranus. There will be some energy around siblings, your sister or sisters. Mm-hmm. There's going to be some discussions. I think that also because it's the 8th house. How long ago did you lose your mother?
March of last year, March 6th.
Okay. Have you wrapped up all the issues around finances in the house and everything? Her estate? Mm-hmm. Because that's also part of this energy.
Yeah, well, yes,
there
we
might
have
be
basically
some anxiety with that still. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I've resigned to whatever happens with the house happens. I'm just not going to stress about anything.
Okay. And that's good. Even though that's good, I would say there's probably, first off, Saturn moving direct in August it's gonna be fine. It's right on, the Saturn right now is within 2 degrees of your natal moon, and there will probably be a move come later this year. When Saturn goes direct in August, it's going to immediately hit your moon in the house of home and family. So that's probably going to trigger, like if the house is part of it, you're saying, you're giving me the inclination that it's going to be sold, or
yeah,
it is your mother's property.
Moving there. Yeah, I was thinking about moving into the house.
Okay.
Yeah, around August.
Saturn,
but I don't know if I can do that.
You will. You will. Saturn in Sag is its ruler of Jupiter, which is fortune. Not only that, but you have Jupiter in a wide trine to your moon. And then Saturn's going there. So right now it's retrograde, which means you're going back. You're wondering, should I do this, should I not? When Saturn goes direct, it's going to be like, now it's time to manifest and create that structure. And it is real estate. It is on the moon. It hits your moon, which is mom. So real estate around mother would completely be in alignment with the energy I see going on. So you may or may not stay there for a long time when Saturn gets into Capricorn at the end of the year. If you do stay, I think you're going to buy it because Saturn, and I got chills with that, so I don't know if you want, if your family will let you move in, you'll probably do that in August. But I see that if you want to buy it, you could buy it by the end of the year. I think that real estate's going to shift and change, and of course Saturn moving into Capricorn at the point Pluto was at in 2007, it could make, it's like, okay, now you people have to take responsibility for what happened with the real estate market. So I'm thinking that if there are any houses that were withheld, and I heard this, because I went through a process myself of short sale, that there are houses that are in foreclosure that were held back to keep the market moving forward. I think that at that point they might release those houses to the market, and it could lower the price of houses. So I do think the end of the year and into the beginning of next year is going to lower real estate prices. So I'm just letting you know, if you want to buy it at a lower rate, or, you might end up waiting and then doing it after the first of the year. But I know your siblings won't like that. So.
Yeah. What do you think about my heart after this energy passes? Will the anxiety-related palpitations ease up?
Well, definitely Mercury connects to a square with Leo, which rules the heart. And so I think that you're going to go through a little bit. There's probably still a little bit more anxiety to come. I think when Venus gets into Taurus and then gets past that square to Vesta. So it's going to be about a little over a month. I think it will start to calm down, honestly. I think you're going to find groundedness. And, I think actually the real estate thing looks really positive in the next few months with Venus moving into the Sagittarius house. Venus rules finances. Sagittarius for me is real estate. So there's definitely something coming. And I think that's going to help. I think be careful probably in the next week and a half, because Venus will be on your Jupiter and it'll expand some of this. So, I think that you're going to probably have a little bit more to go, but I think just over a month it's going to clear up, and I think that you'll be much more grounded after you get Venus past that 4 degrees of Taurus. Okay?
Okay.
Well, thanks for the call.
I'm so worried about myself and in fear. I didn't know what was going on.
Well, fear is just going to continue to expand if you let it. This is actually some karma. You've got a square. Venus is coming into square, or Jupiter is squaring Pluto, and it's actually getting away from a square to Pluto. Pluto's going retrograde, coming back into square with Jupiter. But so there is some anxiety. There's some heightened alertness. It's that emergency stuff. So definitely be cautious as Venus comes into conjunction with Jupiter and then squares Pluto. So like I said, over the next few weeks, you're going to feel a little bit more of that. But definitely I would say keep sisters close and pay attention to what's around you so that you know, like if you're intuitive, picking up things from other people, know what's around you and definitely ground and look at what's yours to worry about and what's someone else's. Okay?
Okay.
So, yeah,
when you say emergency, does that mean that an emergency situation could come up?
It could. And, it would be probably more with transportation or something, someone you know from another, who's in another country. Like if you have any family members in another country, something like that.
Oh, so no medical emergency with me.
I won't guarantee that. Venus on your Jupiter in the 8th house definitely could increase your stress, and so that's why I'm encouraging you to do things that relax you. You need to do things that will bring your heart rate down and your blood pressure down, and stop focusing. The more you focus on the worry about your health, it's not hurting it. I mean, it's not helping. It's contributing to it. So you need to find things that take your mind off of that. Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Take care. Good talking to you.
Okay, you too.
Bye. All right. I'm going to take one more call because I've talked a lot and I've been away, so I'm going to take 734. So hi, 734. How are you?
Hello. I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
My name is Lexi.
Oh, hi, Lexi. Okay. So what is your birth information?
So I'm February 3rd, 1993, and I was born at 10:08 p.m., and my birthplace is Royal Oak, Michigan.
Okay. What can I do for you today?
Oh, I just kind of wanted to know, like, general themes, things to look forward to, things to look out for next few months, I guess.
Okay. Well, it's kind of late for the show. I'm running overtime, so is there a single question, like something more specific?
I guess maybe, like, in my career sector, I'm an artist, or I'm an up-and-coming artist.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Let's see. I'm just looking. So did I get that right? Okay, yeah. Wow, you're on a Jupiter return, literally to the degree. Jupiter in your first house at 14. That's awesome. So
it just does feel awesome.
Yeah, you also, oh my gosh, you have Pluto right on Uranus in your chart. And you have a Uranus-Neptune conjunction at 19, Capricorn. So you have so much power going on in the home and family sector right now. Definitely, I would say, and because it's Capricorn is career. So are you doing this out of your home? Is this something that you're creating out of the home?
Yeah.
Good. That's where you should be. So you're gonna do well. Probably coming up in about a month, because Mars will hit your midheaven in Cancer, and then again, because you have Mars at your midheaven, you have Moon at your midheaven in Cancer. That's going to trigger your career because your midheaven is the cusp of your house of career. So let me just see when. Let's see, 7 degrees of Cancer. Mars hits 7 degrees Cancer, and flipping through my little book. Hang on. So Mars at 7 Cancer comes in where? May, June, 7. On the 16th of June. Interesting. So, June 16th, you'll have Mars right up there and literally between your Moon and your Mars. And so Mars in Gemini right now means that there's a little bit of education you need to do with your career. It's basically the prep for the upcoming career. Is that how you feel?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have a show coming up in October that I need to prepare for, and I've kind of been generating ideas about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's going to be really good for you. I got chills all over. Jupiter gets to Scorpio in October, and Jupiter is fortune, and it's heading into your house of money and into Scorpio, which is also commitment to a partner or some business. So it's in alignment in October, and it's funny how everything comes that way. And then Saturn will be direct on the 25th of August. So when Saturn goes direct, it means that you're moving forward with career around communicating who you are. And I think that you may have a chance to move. By the end of the year, there's a chance to move. And I think if you do move, it's going to be in alignment with your career. And Saturn and Sagittarius in the third house means that you're expressing yourself, you're getting it out, you're basically tooting your own horn and promoting yourself. And the promotion of self is going to get more intense as you go into the end of the year. And then by the end of the year, when Saturn goes into Capricorn, that's like, okay, time to move because this is where I'm going. And you'll be, and Jupiter also moving into the second house means you're probably going to end up having some kind of business dealing that will help you, but you'll have to probably move to do it. So, yeah, lots of big stuff for you. Amazing. And then over the course of the next 2.5 years, not only is Pluto right on your Neptune-Uranus conjunction, but you're going to have Saturn there too, and that's just going to reiterate how your career is solidifying, okay?
Oh, thank you.
Don't be fearful. It's your dreams. Your dreams are coming true. You're probably going to be famous. Yeah, you definitely have some potential for fame. Yeah, definitely call back and let me know when you're famous. Say, remember me? You told me I'd be famous. Now I'm famous.
Oh my God, thank you.
Okay.
Well,
you're welcome. All right, good luck to you.
So much.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Send me at astrologerangel.com. Send me a link on my contact me place of your art. I would love to see it because I'm an artist.
Okay, thank you. That sounds good.
You're welcome. All right, thanks,
thank you,
good luck. You're welcome. Take care. And that's the end of the show this week. Be sure and tune in next week, and I look forward to meeting and talking with all of you. Take care. Bye.
Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at ironwoodrain.com. To subscribe, please click the picture of Shelley on the right or the red button below.